Peter Walsh, leader of the Nationals in Victoria. Great to have you back with us on Flow in 2022.
Thanks, Ricky.
Now, let's just kick things off just talking about the fact it's an election year this year in Victoria. What are the major policy announcements the Nationals have made so far about what you want to achieve for regional Victorians?
Well, I suppose what we'll be focusing very obviously on is on regional Victoria, as you've said. One of the key projects that we want to get moving is the Murray Basin Rail project. We've said that we'd allocate the $5 million to finish that business case, to just investigate what does need to be done to fix the absolute mess that the Andrews government's made of that project.
And it seems to me the federal government's sort of come to the party. You've got your Nationals colleagues there. There's money on the table from that end, but it's really in the lap of the state government to get it rolling.
It is. All Victoria has to do is stump up $5 million to match the money from the Commonwealth to finish the business case to finish the project. Jacinta Allen can spend billions and billions of dollars on cost overruns in Melbourne, but can't find $5 million to finish the business case.
It seems odd. It strikes a different tone to what Anthony Albanese has said this morning in an opinion piece talking about how he wants Australia to be a nation that builds things. I mean, I would have thought Murray Basin Rail is a perfect thing to build.
It is, and it's left everyone stranded. It's half done. Some is standard gauge, some is still broad gauge. It's actually less efficient now than before the project started.
And what are your expectations on what that would deliver in terms of economic and other benefits, not only to your own electorate but in the regions?
Well, it gets freight moving more efficiently. It gets freight to port quicker. It gets the stuff from port to the regions that's desperately needed for all the inputs we need in there quicker as well. So it just defies logic as to why the Andrews government won't stump up that money to do the business case to finish the project.
Okay, well, look, the big announcement that came out in the last 24 hours has been this code brown that's been declared in hospitals, usually reserved for natural disasters, but the disaster here is the COVID impact on hospitals, which includes some regional hospitals as well. I've heard from the Matthew Guy talking about the Andrews government had plenty of time to prepare for this. I take it that's your perspective as well?
It is. So, Daniel Andrews is a former health minister. He's been Premier for 7 years. He's had plenty of time to make sure that the Victorian health system could stand the pressures that it's under now. We've had 2 years of the pandemic. Victoria is one of the most locked down areas in the world, and the reason for the lockdowns early in the pandemic was to enable the health system to be upgraded to handle the caseloads that were anticipated with COVID. The promise for 4,000 new intensive care beds that have never been delivered. There's actually less intensive care beds there now than there was before the pandemic. What's happened now is the symptom of chronic underinvestment and mismanagement of the health system by the Andrews government.
What the press release from the Health Minister yesterday indicated, among other things, were staff that were being furloughed at the moment weren't available. It's a whole bit of a hot potato, but there was a bunch of staff that were unvaccinated that refused to work or wouldn't work because they were told they were barred from working in the health service. Are they people who could be brought back in to help out with the caseload?
Well, I think there's a whole range of things that could be done, Ricky. How you get staff back into the system is part of that. How, the government has gone some of the way to changing the rules around close contact isolations and the use of rapid testing, but they haven't done it far enough or fast enough to stop the situation we're in now.
Well, I noticed Treasurer Frydenberg said today that the timeline to come back to work is now coming down, he hopes, to 5 days in coming days. Is that the kind of sort of fast tracking you're talking about?
Well, that, and also the issue around the definition of close contacts and how long people should isolate. It has changed for some areas, including the health services, but it needs to change right across the board because we're seeing chronic shortages and issues around staff right across the whole spectrum of all the services in Victoria.
Yeah, one of those drivers with these shortages is these rapid antigen tests you mentioned. In regional Victoria, are people getting their hands on them fast enough?
No. Simple answer, Ricky, no. This was something that we actually raised with the health minister back in September, and at that stage he made a commitment that Victoria would start stockpiling these tests for once they were approved at the start of November. for use. They didn't place the order till Christmas time. It was far too late. Victoria missed the boat through the mismanagement of the health minister.
Yeah, I've seen these comments from the opposition over the last year for quite some time, even about public events in Melbourne and ensuring that rapid antigen tests were available to quickly keep those events moving. It seems the opposition was well aware of rapid antigen tests long before the government was.
Well, we actually got a medical service to come and rapid test a number of our MPs, myself included, back in August to demonstrate how simple it is to actually use it as a measure to keep people coming to work or to make sure they're not COVID infected quickly. The government at the time just poo-hooed the whole idea as being totally irrelevant. They should have actually got on board back in August and September, placed the orders, knowing that the Therapeutic Goods Administration was going to approve the use of rapid tests in early November.
And I take it, if I'm remembering this correctly, your policy being that you would have a royal commission into the government's handling of the pandemic. This would be something you'd have in the terms of references.
Most definitely. The pressure that Victoria's been under, the issues that we've had to face over the last 2 years need the powers of a Royal Commission to be investigated so the learnings can be captured so the same mistakes don't get made in the future when there is another pandemic.
Well, Peter, whilst it's going to be a big year for the Nationals and everyone in state politics in Victoria, thanks for your time today. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much, Ricky.